Hello! Back for the second video of my Mario Kart World duology, I should say. Yes, and as I said at the end of my review, this video is going to be dedicated to my predictions for DLC for this game. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear to say we will be getting DLC for this at some point. I reckon maybe at earliest we might get an announcement September, October, and I don't know, get it released. First pack of, I don't know, probably December for Christmas, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, but anyway, these are my predictions, so if you have anything you want to say to me about it, go ahead, but just understand this is what I'm predicting and hoping for eventual DLC. Now, I think you're going to be wondering whether I'm going to predict this like, say, Booster Course Pass or the original DLC packs for Base 8 on the Wii U, and I'm going to go through the Wii U side. And let me remind you that when the DLC was announced for Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, it flipped the internet around. I mean, it was huge to see other Nintendo franchises represented in Mario Kart. I mean, we hadn't even seen that before, let alone in any sort of Mario franchise that isn't really a spin-off or an RPG, you know. To be able to play as Link, Isabelle, and Villager, and eventually the Inklings from Splatoon and 8 Deluxe was a big deal, and being able to drive around different locations from the Nintendo universe, not just from Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon, but also we got the opportunity to drive through locations based on F-Zero and Excitebike. So it was a big deal. And, well, again, I know it's not the first time Mario Kart had done that. The arcade games obviously were developed by Namco, so they had Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Blinky, Tamagotchi, and I think one of the characters from that rhythm game they have, if I forget its name, but I'm just going to remember. And of course, one of the characters in Mario Kart DS was Rob the Robot, Nintendo's the NES accessory, you know, from all the way back then, which was the beginning of Rob's resurgence in popularity, which eventually led him to get into Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So, we'll go along with that and just go over what I think will be announced, or what I'm hoping for characters, vehicles, and tracks, both with regular races, but also battle mode. So we'll go a bit with that, you know. And again, these are my predictions, so don't, if I'm missing things that you wish them to announce, well, just understand that. So why don't we start with the characters? And I think at first, let's just go over, well, Mario characters at first. And starting off, I'm going to mention the one outfit I'm going to add into this game. Only one, because this is for a character that has only has one costume at the moment. I think needs another one, and well, with his game coming out next month, well this month actually, might as well throw it in there. I'm going to give Donkey Kong a new outfit, and it's going to be themed in some of his mining attire from Donkey Kong Bonanza. And yeah, I think everyone will agree Donkey Kong got the short stick of outfits. He only has one, and while, you know, is cool, you just kind of think, if the babies can get so many, and King Boo and even King Boo, Shy Guy, and I think Koopa Troopa were able to get a lot, you would imagine Donkey Kong should have at least managed to get, I don't know, 2 or 3. Well, this will be second, and I'm only doing one, but, you know, for what it is, I think it will look really good to see Donkey Kong in an outfit based on his new game, which, you know, I am looking forward to playing, but it won't be for a little while longer. A bit longer for me when I start. Yeah, so there's that. Going on to that, let's go on to the Mario characters themselves, and yeah, I'm mostly going to stick with returning veterans who aren't in base world, but I think we'll get added along the way. I mean, some of the ones that you can immediately think of who are missing, well, one of the first ones you can think of is Diddy Kong, and yeah, I think Diddy's a shoo-in to get in. I think it would make, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't included in the base game, but, you know, hopefully we'll see him get thrown in there soon. I'm also throwing in Funky Kong, the Mario Kart Ruiner. I debated for a while whether I want to see Cranky Kong get in instead, but, you know, Funky, he's the cult favorite character of Mario Kart, and as I said, he's the Mario Kart Ruiner for a reason. I mean, I still remember that description on him, and I think that Donkey Kong magazine I read back in 2010. Yeah, something. Yeah, pretty much. P Piranha is another one I'm expecting to return. I think it would make sense if the Piranha Plant's already driving. Why not have the big bad boss himself? And you know, it's happened before, so bring him in. Yeah, I mean, if he was put in the booster course pass, why not bring him back now? And another character that I'm expecting to show up for DLC are the Miis, and I was quite surprised that they omitted them for base world. I mean, Miis is still present on the Switch too, and there's going to be a track theme. Well, actually, no, a battle track. Well, a couple tracks actually that are going to be themed for the Miis, and I'm going to include in my predictions. So yeah, I think it makes sense for the Miis to get added later on, and yeah, again, I wonder where they are in the first place. Yeah. But now let's get on to the newer characters, and this thing's going to be a bit interesting. I'm starting off with the new characters of the Mario franchise first before I get to the Nintendo reps. So let's start off with the first new character I'm going to add in, Boom Boom. Yeah, I'm throwing him in. I was quite surprised he didn't get added in as part of Kamek's transformations. I think I addressed that in the review, but I think it makes sense for him to show up. It just, you know, ever since he returned for Super Mario 3D Land, all the way back in 14 years ago for Super Mario 3D Land, I think it makes sense for him to show up and have him drive around. I mean, he's a part of the world. He's one of the, you can drive into him when you're around the Bowser's Cut, all the volcano areas, including Bowser's Castle and Dry Bones Burnouts. So it just makes sense that he should be one of the characters you can unlock that being DLC. It only makes sense. Another character I think should show up, especially with a stage and a track I'm going to add in. Professor Egad. He's someone I think a lot of people want to see playable in Mario Kart, and yeah, I want to see him too. It just makes so much sense for him to show up. And yeah, where is he? I mean, I'm glad I finally got to play as Nabbit in a Mario Kart game that isn't Tour. But yeah, I want to see Professor Egad now, and yeah, that's something I really want to see. And the other character I'm going to add in doesn't necessarily appear in Mario game, in any Mario spin-off games, but is technically part of the Mario universe, but connected through Wario. Yeah, I'm going to add in a WarioWare character. And I think the one that a lot of people want to see show up, and truth be told I want to see, is Ashley. She just makes so much sense, and yeah, it's really strange. Outside of the Wario bike showing up in Wario for Mario Kart Wii, and I think a few references here and there to WarioWare. There hasn't been really any references to well, it was even a WarioWare tennis court in Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube, but that's really about it. They haven't really had any references to Wario's universe. Oh, okay, there was also Diamond City in the arcade Mario Kart games, but that's really about it. It's about time we finally get a WarioWare character interact with the Mario franchise, and Ashley is the fan favorite. It makes so much sense for her to show up. She's distinct, she's unique. I'm sure a lot of people would also like to see 9Volt show up just because of his Nintendo all his Nintendo themed micro games, but I just think Ashley is the first one that will get in, and let's be frank, a lot of people love Ashley. I mean, I love her theme song to death, like everyone does. Yeah. But those are the Mario characters. There's still 4 left, and these are all going to be Nintendo reps. And starting off the one I think with the only rep from Mario Kart game, who I want to see show up, Rob. Yeah, kind of predictable. But Rob, there's a bike-themed Dr. Rob currently in the game, which is my favorite bike, well actually my favorite vehicle in the game at the moment. But, I mean, come on, it makes so much sense. I want to see Rob show up again. I mean, unlocking him in Mario Kart DS was a huge surprise, and I'm sure a lot of people who who would have played Mario Kart DS might have been their first real Mario Kart game, or at least in my generation. So to see Rob and not really know who he is and where he's from must have been a huge surprise. I think a lot, and it's interesting. Much like Funky Kong, Rob is kind of one of these characters that has a very unique reputation within Mario Kart. Some say he doesn't really belong in the game and sort of write him off as a sort of joke character that didn't need to be there, but compare him to Set, but others really enjoy his presence, and I think it's time we, especially since this was the game, his appearance in DS was what restarted his popularity and led him to appear in other franchises and not just make cameos and all that. Well, still making cameos, but more prevalent ones. So it would make sense for him to show up and get in there, and yeah, I want to see it happen. I just want to see Rob get back in. Now, the other three characters, let's get on to the first one. First one I'm going to add in from Nintendo for new characters, Samus Aran from Metroid. Yeah, I think this is one a lot of people want to see, and with Metroid Prime 4 coming out very hopefully soon, it just makes sense that Samus would get in and we'd be able to play as her in Mario Kart. And again, and it's not like this hasn't happened before that Samus has crossed over in the Mario universe. She's obviously makes a cameo in the Super Mario RPG games, both the original and the remake. You see her gunship in one of the levels in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And of course, you have a Mii costume for her in 8/8 Deluxe. So, the Mii. Then there's also the Amiibo costume in Super Mario Maker. Yeah, so it has happened, and it just makes sense for her to show up now and be able to play as her. And it'd be fun to play as her. Yeah, it's going to be a great choice and everything. A lot of people want to see her, so yeah, I want to play as her in Mario Kart. The other two I'm going to add in, both from the same franchise. And well, again, with their next big game coming out in the franchise, let's add in Kirby and Meta Knight. Yeah, I'm going both of them. And I think part of the reason why I'm choosing them is because we are getting the long-awaited sequel to Kirby Air Ride, which is actually also being developed by Masahiro Sakurai, who is the creator of the franchise and hasn't made a game in the franchise since directed a game in the franchise since the original Air Ride way back in the early 2000s for the GameCube. It would make so much sense for them to also cross-reference each other with both racing games since they're being released I think the same year actually. I think Air Ride comes out towards the end of the year. So yeah, that's what I want to see, and I think Kirby is has a bunch of vehicles he's used, whether it be his Warp Star or Dragoon or something like that. He obviously can copy vehicles in his most recent game, which I reviewed all those years ago, in the Forgotten Land. And Meta Knight, well, he's got his own ship. What more can you say? It just makes so much sense. I wouldn't mind if they did choose King Dedede, but I don't know. I think it makes sense for Kirby and Meta Knight to be the ones. And yeah, what more can I say? It would be fantastic to see them. And I guess people would. I'm not sure people would complain too much about the fact that Kirby and Meta Knight will pretty much be put in as a bit of a cross-reference to their own racing game. But unlike, say, when a Fire Emblem character like Corrin or Byleth got added into Smash Brothers, where everyone was complaining about that because it was just, again, it was advertisement a game, but a lot of that was because it was another Fire Emblem character. And yeah, I think with this, it wouldn't be too bad. It was too much of a stretch. I think people would be okay with it, and it would make sense when they show up. Being that they are one of Nintendo's most beloved franchises. Yeah, it just makes sense to me and for a lot of people. Now, going on to it, I will get the vehicles done next, and yeah, this is a bit interesting with the vehicles. There's not really much you can go over them, but I'm just going to describe what I think should be good choices for vehicles. Starting off, I've got some returners. We've got the parade car from Mario Kart Double Dash to make a return. It's a fan favorite car, and it would be nice to be able to play around with that. Again, it's really fun. In theme, I've got the Rambi Rider returning from Mario Kart DS, which is again a fan favorite. The Warrior bike obviously returns from Mario Kart Wii. No, no, no explanation there. I've also got now another card I want to see show up is the Poltergust 4000, also from DS. But rather than just saying it's the same thing, you could upgrade it to make it a different version. Obviously, because every Luigi's Mansion game there's a new version of Poltergust that you get to control. So I would actually like to see that concept brought over with this. So make a new Poltergust. G0 diffuser or something like that. I don't know. I'm just sort of spitballing names for it, but you know what I mean. In terms of newer cars, one car I want to see created for kart for this game is a kart theme after a bumper car. It makes sense for Mario and his friends to drive around bumper cars, and you create some great designs for them for Mario Kart. And again, I'm going to address it more later as to why I'm choosing that very soon. The other car is sort of themed after a plane. I don't know whether you just want to go in theme with the Jumbo Jet or the Soda Jet from 8 or 7, but go a bit different with this. Do something different, like maybe a Crop Duster, or well, I don't know. I think there's a plane Wario's flown in the past in the Wario Lands franchise. So yeah, there's a lot you can do. And the other 3 carts are all going to be themed after the main 3 Nintendo reps being thrown in here, which are a Dragoon themed car for Kirby, a Halbo themed car for Mennonite, and a Gunship themed car for Samus. I know you're wondering why I'm not giving anything for Rob, but well, you've already got the Rob bike. I think that would be enough. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind one of Rob's carts from DS to show up, but it's just. It'd be okay if he didn't get anything themed after him. I'm just saying. But yeah, those are the vehicles. But let's get on to the tracks. And yeah, I've got a lot of great ideas. I've gone 16 tracks for the game to be added in over obviously 4 cups. Again, themed after the DLC packs for 8 on Wii U. The question now, I haven't really come up with names for the cups. So, okay, I've come up with names for the Metroid and Kirby cups, but I'll mention them later. But when I go over with the tracks I've sort of come up with, I'll go over the new track, the returning tracks I want to see return. And yeah, I thought about these long and hard for a bit. The first track, now I should mention whether or not don't know what they'll do with adding them as part of the world. They could either add them in, do an update where they expand the world by adding these tracks in there, or they create a separate lands. Like obviously, there's a lot of ocean around. There's an ocean around here. Maybe set these tracks on a different island or something like that, or I don't know. Maybe use Rainbow Road to travel to these places, which I think is a possibility because Rainbow Road still. I really want to be able to travel it in free roam, but we're not able to at the moment. So you know what I'm saying. But let's get on with these tracks, and let's start with the returning ones. First up, returning from Mario Kart 64, I've brought back DK's Jumble Parkway. This is a track that hasn't been remade since Mario Kart Wii, and yeah, it's a fan favorite. A lot of people really enjoy it, and I like it too. I think it could look really good and it really deserves a visual upgrade. I mean, for the bridge, the jump, maybe try and use the boat that be able to interact with the boat that goes around the river and all that. The cave. Yeah, there's a lot you can really do with this. And again, with Mario Kart, with the free roam, just imagine being able to travel around the outside of the park, and or the jungle, I should say. There's a lot you can really do with this, and it just would look great bringing it back for Mario Kart World. So yeah, that was an easy one to decide. And also easy to decide was bringing back some GBA tracks. And let's be frank, having no GBA tracks at the Super Circuit tracks for this at launch is strange. I mean, you look and see what they did with the GBA tracks they brought back for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, with DLC tracks for both the original pack and the Booster Course Pass. Most of them, Sunset Wilds was sort of let down, but yeah, these you would expect them to bring some ones back here, and I've come up with there are two that I think I really want to see. The first one I want to see is Lakeside Park from from Super Circuit, and this will be interesting just because of the fact um, I know they both sound very similar, having both DK's Jungle Parkway and Lakeside Park very similar because they're both jungle-themed tracks. But the fact that Lakeside Park has an erupting volcano that erupts every lap and spews lava rocks all around is a unique concept, and I would really like to see it be brought over. And just imagine it. I mean, in terms of volcanoes around in Mario Kart at the moment, I think the only one that is present is the one that you drive up to get to Bowser's Castle. So I think another volcano track that actually plays a part in the course is a good idea, and I kind of want to see that. And maybe you could also have a bit of way you can travel from Bowser's Castle to Lakeside Park through a volcanic tunnel, stuff like that, or magma tunnel. I think it would be really cool. So yeah, there's something to keep in mind. Another track I think that I want to see is, and this could be another way to be able to finally, well, make Nintendo actually have Rainbow Road travel in free roam is, well, bring back another Rainbow Road, specifically the one from Super Circuit. I mean, a lot of people really want to see it and make a return because it is due for one. And yeah, I think this one would look good. I mean, this one is one of the fastest Rainbow Roads around because there's so many boost pads and and jumps to make and alternate pathways, and yeah, it's also very colourful, and I think this will look really good in World. Just having this fast-paced action with it, and yeah, it's got this aura about it. It really resonates with a lot of people, and I can see why after I finally played it through the Nintendo Switch Online GBA membership app. Yeah, it's got a lot of very good things in it, and maybe keep that reference to Paper Mario with the Paper Mario Bowser's Castle playing in the background. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, maybe I'm asking a bit too much for it, but you know what I mean. I would really like to see it. And maybe again, if you're going to feature it within the world, have it so not. There's a part in the new Rainbow Road where there's a bridge that you can drive that you can't actually drive over, where some toads are watching you and cheering you on. Well, maybe actually have you drive on that bridge to get to GBA Rainbow Road. In some capacity, I don't know where. I'm sort of giving people. I'm not sure if I will keep giving these ideas of where you can fit them in the current world, these tracks, but it's worth bringing it up for the sake of it. So yeah, I'm just going along with that. But I can say with certain ones where they could work, like the next track which I'm bringing over, which is from Double Dash, which is Daisy Cruiser. Yeah, this is one I think, again, a lot of people want to see, and yeah, I really want to see it get brought back again. Daisy Cruiser has always been a fan favorite, and I don't know. Well, it's been great. The times it has been brought back has been good. I kind of think it's time you give it a full go back to its roots with how it was originally designed in Double Dash, but add new things in it. Like instead of being able to drive into the pool and in 7 and Tour, actually be able to do what you're doing in World, where you can actually just jump, do a bit of a trick, but expand the pool or something like that, make it a little bit bigger, because I really do think they need to make this track bigger for a further experience. Would be unique. With the diner actually be able to interact more with the tables and all that would be good to have. And when you get to the fork in the road where you can continue going through, we'll stay on top level instead, or go into the steerage or the cargo hold and get launched out through one of the I don't know what the name is of those steam holders or something like that. Well, so whatever the cannon structure is in the original, not having to worry about having water going through water, which they always sound odd with the remakes in 7 is that the cargo hold is flooded in those ones. Yeah, so I kind of would like to actually not have to worry about this time. So yeah, and it's just, but yeah, I really love Daisy Cruiser, and it's easy, and you can easily fit in where anywhere. Well, probably not the. Well, no, you could always put it near the ice courses, the snow courses, but I think it would be looking good around, say, Peach Beach, which is a good choice because obviously with Mario Kart Double Dash, most of the tracks were relatively close to each other on the world, and you can sort of see different landmarks of all of them in specific places. And Daisy Cruiser is seen in Peach Beach, so it would make sense if you could have it be placed there. So yeah, there's a lot you can really do with this. Or if you want to move it somewhere else, well, Koopa Troopa Beach is nearby, so go there, or Salty Speedway. Yeah. Another track I want to see get brought back, and well, from Double Dash, let's bring in Bowser's Castle from Double Dash. It's high time this one gets a remake, and this one would be interesting is that they could maybe do this a bit differently. Obviously include the new stuff like being able to drive on walls, grind rails, but also you have Bowser's, and also being able to have a Bowser statue that shoots fire at you, like say, like obviously the ones in, or interact with the course, like obviously the ones in Double Dash, Wii, and 8. But this one I would like to see a bit different. I like to see this castle be a bit run down, like have this castle look like an abandoned castle of Bowser's, where it looks like it's covered in a lot of moss and vines and all that, and things are sort of looking a bit dilapidated or something like that. I just think it would look good if we drove through an abandoned version of Bowser's Castle, and since the Double Dash one hasn't been seen in a very long time, have that actually be integrated in this. It would look really good and give a good visual contrast and everything. Yeah, so that's what I want to see with that, but I think I'm asking a bit too much for it, and I get it, but it's worth bringing it up. Um, in terms of dilapidated houses and all that, and with the fact I've included Professor Egad and a new Poltergeist vehicle, let's return to Luigi's Mansion from Mario Kart DS. And yeah, this is what I really want to see get brought back. And one of the reasons why, well, okay, first up, Luigi doesn't have a vehicle named after a track named after him in this game, and I think it would make sense to bring this one in. And it's not to say I'm not impressed with the Ghost Scene track we got. I mean, I love Boo Sim; it's my favorite course in the game. But with this, I think it would be good to be able to explore more of Luigi's Mansion in this new version, and integrating Luigi's Mansion into the Mario Kart World roster. Just imagine it. You can actually see, to explore more levels of the mansion than the main track, and all the places you can put in the question mark panels and the P-switch challenges and the Peach medals. Just it would be interesting, and also bringing back the actual designs of the portrait ghosts. I really want to see that. So yeah, I want to have them brought back instead of having those Boo pictures that would sometimes be a bit of a hazard in the 7 remake. Yeah, and also having Egad's bunker be seen also would be good. Like maybe you could also have that as a bit of a as a change of routing in a certain area. You could always go in a secret tunnel that leads to Egad's bunker or something like that. That would be something. I don't know. It's an idea. But you never know. Now I'm not including any tracks from Wii. I was thinking about it, but then I sort of changed my mind and said, you know what, I don't really can think of anything at the moment, and it could be different for the game. But going into 7, the one that I immediately chose was to be honest, I haven't really decided which version I would prefer more. But seeing what they've done with, say, Mario Circuit from SNES, and of course integrating aspects of Rainbow Road as well, why not be able to drive through Woohoo Island again? Specifically, it's called 2 courses in 7, Woohoo Loop and Maka Woohoo. have Ryukyu Island be on a separate, be a little further away in the ocean, and being able to drive over to it would be a very good idea. And again, this would be, I'm actually going to say you can combine both these tracks into one and create a more fulfilling experience. It's got a lot of fans. Everyone loved these tracks in 7, and for being the first ones that have focused on sections rather than full-on laps. So to be able to bring it back and having them be the track for the Miis is a good idea, and I think a lot of people want to see it. I'm down for it. Yeah. But if you want to have them closely linked, or be able to fly, get to them, this is where I think the next course I'm going to throw in, and this is the course I'm bringing in over from Mario Kart 8. And now, it's obviously well known that we haven't got any tracks from Mario Kart 8 in this base game, much like the Super Circuit stuff, and again, I really thought hard about which one I think should go in, and the one that immediately came to my mind is Sunshine Airport. This is a track I think a lot of people, I would love to see it get remade. And it's not like it's going to be ruined completely by not having anti-gravity, because the only sole section was a separate area high up in the sky as you see when you fly from a runway, and then after going on this anti-gravity, you fly back down and see a plane go over the head of you. It's not like they could just. It's not like that. It's like that area doesn't really need to have anti-gravity, so it's okay taking it out, and it's not going to ruin the experience. And again, it's not like Nintendo hasn't featured something similar already in the base game, because to get to Airship Fortress and say any one of the desert tracks, you got to fly over to a separate hovering base and then fly off that to get to Airship Fortress. So it can work, and I think it would look great again. I mean, I love Sunshine Airport, and let's do it. Let's have it in. And the final returning course I brought in is a track that hasn't been remade and is the only track from Mario Kart Tour that wasn't in the Booster Course Pass. Yeah, I'm bringing in Piranha Plant Pipeline. And this is another one that I think could really work well with the mechanics. I think they can easily include the rail grinding in certain areas, and also a bit of, I guess, wall riding as well. But I think this could also work for transitioning for getting from one place to the other in the world. And it's going to be I think it can really work. And again, it was the only track that wasn't remade in the Booster Course Pass, so it makes sense for why Nintendo should bring it over now. So we can only assume that this might be an easy choice or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now let's get on to some original theme tracks I've sort of created. Well, ideas for concepts. The first track I've sort of come up with is a track themed after Goombas. Yeah, Goombas. Goombas haven't really had a track themed after them, and I really want to see one, especially now we can finally be able to play as them. So my idea for one is actually theming a bit around a desert a bit, and my idea is for a track called Goomba Mountain, where you're sort of driving around a bit of a desert and all that, with a giant rock Goomba somewhere within the middle of it, and be able to see maybe a few ranches here and there and everything, and this will sort of be linked into an idea I have for a battle track, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I think it would be nice to see a Goomba themed course, and it could really do something. In terms of, I've already mentioned a desert track. In terms of an ice track, I think having maybe something to do with climbing up a mountain again, and seeing something like a icicle peak or something like that. Not saying anything that's referencing ice climbers, but there is a lot you can really do with this, and seeing these courses, or just driving up a peak and seeing all these igloos for villages for toads or shy guys or snowmen or penguins, something like that. Something like a bit like how Wild Woods is set up in 8/8 Deluxe, and a bit of some other tracks in here. Yeah, I just think they could really do something with something like that, seeing a bit of a igloo themed village or around an icicle peak or something like that. It could look really good. In terms of another track I've been thinking, since we only really have the Great Question Block Ruins with themed tracks and the sky, that's a bit of a track, another sky themed track, but maybe this time set it a bit like around beanstalks. So this could be an interesting concept. I mean, beanstalks have been integrated before in Mario Kart tracks with Sky Garden and a bit of Cloud Top Cruise. But how this time we're actually driving in the sky on a bunch of beanstalks and all that. So like a bit of clouds here and there, but you know, being able to drive around and all that. And with certain challenges where you can actually grow beanstalks to grind on them and then jump over to another one to get blue coins and all that, get blue coins. I think it could work really well for a track. And there's just quite a lot of ideas a bit with this, and yeah, I'm excited, you know. Now, these next tracks are all themed after Nintendo franchises, and yeah, well, or shall I say other Nintendo racing games, but starting with the first one, I want to see a track themed after a museum, and maybe a bit of make this the track for Rob, where this museum features a lot of Nintendo consoles, like a Nintendo themed museum or a retro museum, something like that. You can see Rob, and you can see a bunch of Robs in the background at a certain point, maybe even drive on top of one to do as a rail or something like that. I just think it would look really good if we could explore a gaming museum or something like that. It just would work out well, and again, have Rob be the character for that or something like that. It would really work well, and you know, driving on top of other Nintendo consoles and everything, it'd be sweet. Um, yeah. The next track I'm bringing over is actually a bit interesting. I want to bring over a track from Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, I'm bringing over something big here. I love Diddy Kong Racing, and I really look forward to when it can finally get released as part of Nintendo Switch Online. But yeah, I think having a track from DKR could be a really good idea. And of the ones that came to mind were Boulder Canyon, which would involve you driving around a castle, entering a sewer system, and a bit of a forest and all that. And Star City, which is a bit themed after Disney, Epcot Park and Disney World and stuff like that. Yeah, I think these two tracks are probably the ones that would immediately come to mind of what you can really do with a Diddy Kong Racing themed track in Mario Kart. And yeah, I think those two, you can pick either one. But those are two that really would stand out to me as ideas for courses in Mario Kart. You never know. It's wishful thinking, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, the final two tracks are obviously themed after Metroid and Kirby. And these ones are going to be themed specifically more around what Rainbow Road is like, but actually exploring specific locations in these franchises. Starting off with Metroid, it's Planet Zebes. I think if you're going to have a track themed after anything from Metroid location, I should say, it's got to be Planet Zebes. It's the place we've gone to the most, and it would make absolute sense for it to be playable, you know, to drive around it. And a lot of people would love to see the references to Metroid. You can fit in cameos from Ridley, Kraid, Mother Brain, all the enemies, Chozo artifacts and all that. It just would make so much sense. And have this track feel a lot more darker in its lighting and all that. Really make you feel like you're traveling on a planet that is completely hostile or something like that. It would be very, very cool. And have the ending be similar to the self-destruct sequences at the end of most Metroid games. It'd be very cool to see a bit of as you're driving up from, say, where you see Mother Brain, escaping a massive shaft or tunnel. And you see explosions going off in the background or something like that. That would be really, really cool. It'd be something special. Yeah, so that's what I think for Metroid. And as for Kirby, it's got to be Planet Popstar. And this one, do a bit different, where you can actually drive through shortened areas of the Kirby world. Like, start with going through Wispy Woods or something like that. Go into the sky, go to Mount DDD, and maybe I'm not going to include the halberd yet. We'll get to that. Yeah, I think that would be really good, and flying back down to where you start. It's hard to say whether they should specifically start on one location or something like that, because with Kirby, you could always say, oh, maybe we should do something like Great Cave Offensive, or actually drive around the Halberd, which I will talk about later, or specifically focus on Mount DDD. But there are a lot of options you can really do with this, or Wispy Woods, and that. You can really focus on it, but I would rather go through do a bit of a location theme track, and do something like that, with Kirby. Though if you are to do King Mount DDD, obviously throwing his boxing arena where you face him in Kirby Superstar and Superstar Ultra, but have a few references to the fact that there were a bunch of Mario characters who appeared in the background of it, like obviously you've had Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Wario, and Birdo show up in any one of both the original or the remake, so include a few maybe pictures showing that happened. Would be a neat choice, but yeah. I guess you could also throw in a reference to the fact that Samus was also in Kirby Dream Land 3, and as was Rob, so yeah, you have a bit of fun. You never know. Now on to and finally we end off with battle courses. Now I said before the battle mode, well, not as bad as base 8, still felt pretty lacking with this, and yeah, I've really wanted to include more modes and more themed tracks, and I really did think about this long and hard over what tracks I would include courses I should say, for battle mode for a DLC pack. And yeah, let's just get on with it. Now, I can mention that I really want them to bring back more modes. I want Renegade Roundup, I want Shine Thief, I want Bob-on Blast. So bring them all back, and maybe even include a new mode. I don't know what they should come up with, but yeah, think it over. But let's go over to the courses themselves. First, again, retro courses. First course I've decided to bring back is Skyscraper from N64. This is, well, a big donut. I think a lot of people are not really biggest fan that it got brought back. Skyscraper, I think, is a fan favorite. I mean, I know Block Fort's everyone's the main one, and Double Deck hasn't been remade yet, but I think Skyscraper would look the best and be the most unique version for this that could work for this world. And yeah, I think it would be a really fun addition and everything. Being able to just drive on top of a skyscraper and have it be maybe even as part of Crown City. You never know. It could really work. Yeah, I really like that. In terms of another one I want brought back, and this might seem strange, but GBA Battle Course 2. Yeah, I'm bringing back the second version, just because of the fact this one's actually set in Bowser's Castle. And I think it's the only battle course in either SNES, in either Super Mario Kart or Super Circuit that's actually part of in Bowser's Castle. And I think if you're going to include, and you can have this be maybe even linked linked around bringing back GameCube Bowser's Double Dash's Bowser's Castle. I think you can really do something with it, and it'd be really nice to have a bit of visuals and all that, have fire up from the metal grates and everything. It'd be small, confined, and very chaotic. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also fun is bringing back Pipe Plaza from Double Dash. Yeah, I think this is one I think a lot of people want to see get brought back. Pipe Plaza is a fan favorite and is the second most loved, I think, battle track in any Mario Kart game, along with Block Fort. And given that we can actually go in pipes as part of free roam and everything, just makes sense for it to be here and to be brought back, and I love it. I love being able to use the pipes to my advantage and snipe people with items and all that, and whether I'm throwing them into the pipes or something like that, or coming out and then dropping a bomb or something like that as I'm getting out of the pipe. It just would look so good and everything. It's a fun course. It's chaotic. It's small. It's confined. It's very strategic. It would work really well again to be brought back. along with I think one of my favorite battle course in the whole entire franchise. And yeah, what else can I say? Funky Stadium. I love this track when I first played in Wii, and I still do. It just makes it's just a fun time when you get the opportunity to play it. And every time I just drive down those ramps and do a trick as I enter in the stadium itself is just absolute fun for me, and always sends a smile to my face with the music and all that. And being themed for Funky, I don't know how he got a stadium themed after him, but what more can I say? It just works, I love it. I love it big time. And I always do, and I want to see it get brought back and remade. Yeah. Now, bringing it over from something from 8 Deluxe, we've gone Dragon Palace. And this is one I think would be really good to see a bit of a Kung Fu theme course. I mean, Dragon Driftway, I would love to see brought back as a track, but I don't know if it would work at the moment with no anti-gravity. But with Dragon Palace, at least it could be a little bit different. And again, it's small, it's confined. There are different levels, there are different entrances to the palace. It's very visually distinct, and I think it could work really well. Do a bit more of the martial arts theme with it. Have the Koopa Troopers actually kick item boxes into it and everything. It would be a really fun time and everything. I think there's a lot of potential with this, and yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to see it get brought back. Now, the newer courses. Let's start off with one that I think would be a cool choice. Two of my favorites, two in any Mario Kart game are, some of my favorite battle courses are actually the ones that they have you drive on top of the Nintendo consoles themselves. That being GameCube in Double Dash and DS in, DS. So let's actually drive on top of Nintendo Switch 2 for one of the battle tracks. It's just a fun concept, and I wish Nintendo would do more with it. I mean, okay, I can understand a bit why they may have not done it for Wii and 3DS. Just because, the Wii would be a little bit strange and probably maybe a bit too awkward, and the 3DS would just be similar to the DS track in that game. But why didn't they make one for Nintendo's for 8 Deluxe? So having a Nintendo Switch 2 track would be a good choice, and I just want to be able to drive on top of it. It just would make so much sense and everything. It's just a fun time, and yeah, I can see it really working. Now, next track I'm adding in for a battle course is themed directly around Wario. Now, Wario's never had a battle course named after him, and I think it would be nice to have one this time. And when discussing what I want, when I think about what I want, as you know, I carry on this idea for a desert-themed mountain track themed after Goombas. But I mentioned I would have a couple of ranches around and rodeo arenas. Well, let's actually go with that. Have a rodeo-themed course named after Wario Rodeo, or something like that. It just would make so much sense. I want to see this, and just have a bit of horses and bulls and all that around. A bit of a visually distinct stadium and something like that. I mean, I guess you could say with Funky Stadium, maybe we wouldn't need it, but it could really work, and have a bit of a different sort of distinct arena and all that. I think it can be something special, everything. Another one with now, I didn't include Electrodrome in as a DLC as a returning track, nor did I. But I would actually have with the fact they still brought over having a Koopa Trooper be the disco. Playing a disco ball at Koopa Trooper Beach. Well, let's have a disco theme dance floor track. Just imagine that with all the strobe lighting and all that. Just think it would be good just to after seeing the Koopa Trooper doing on his DJ mix board and all these Mario characters, and it would be Shy Guys, Goombas, Hammer Bros, and blocking Piranha Plants again. Just dancing in the background as you drive around attacking everyone. It just would be so much fun and everything. And having the lights actually flash up a bit as you drive over them. it'd be insane, but a good kind of insane. I really want to see something like that. It'd be fun, you know. And another track, since I already had a bumper car as a new vehicle, well, let's have a Dodgem car theme course in general. Actually drive around with other bumper cars that impacting you, you know. It'd be fun, and, you know, for a battle course, it would really work. Not so much a main course, but a battle course, having interacting with Dodgem, with bumper cars and all that. So it'd be a unique fun, and again, very chaotic, and I want to see something like that in Mario Kart, big time. Now the final three are all themed after Nintendo themed franchises or games. Let's start with the one that I've already mentioned bringing back Woohoo Island, and I guess you could say this one's sort of similar to it, but you know, with a new game coming on the horizon, why not include it now? Rip Tomodachi the island from Tomodachi Life as a not a course, which I would like, but actually have a bit of battlefield course where you can drive around the island, interact, have a bit of in certain areas, or try and go all of it, but being able to the original island, not the one that's coming out for the sequel, which would be good. But I just think being able to drive around this island and you know with all the landmarks and all that, and you could make it as big and small as you want. It just would, but it would be a very unique way with all these different landmarks, being able to hide around each area and where you want to, you know, whether you want to snipe people or you know wait for them to come around to where you are and get everything. It'd be very strategic, and I mean, being able to see the island again, you know, no, Tomodachi Life. I spent so much time with it. I can just think of areas where I can get everyone, whether it be around the amusement park, the cafe, the beach if I want to be open for a duel, around the hotel, the housing area. There's a lot you can really do, and I can think of so many good ideas for it. And yeah, having the Mies watching in the background would be very nice. Yeah, can't say much about that. Now, another idea for a track and for a battle track, which I said which I was kind of hinting towards. Let's drive around the Halberd actually as a battle track. Mainly stick with the top and of that, the Halberd, and not go inside. I mean, the inside would be good, but actually driving on top of the Halberd and watching as the ship flies in the air and everything, it would be very unique and very chaotic. Like you've still got the arm cannons and everything that could maybe be used as a hazard or something like that. But you know, it would be a very fun idea. You know, just think. A track would be good. I just think battle mode is best used for the Halberd. I don't know why. It's just what I think, and yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking of. Now, as for Metroid, well, I think it's best you go with something related to Ridley as for a battle mode track, and the one that I always came to was maybe having Pyrosphere return from Metroid Other M, because that's where you face Ridley in there, and Ridley would be a good choice for Hazard as he attacks the track at various points and be a bit of a hazard or something like that. I just think it could really work, and you know, hearing Ridley's theme, maybe speed up as you're getting close to the end of the battle, knowing you're getting close to the end, would be a very fun experience, and I just think it would work so well for a battlefield track. And again, keeping with the Metroid with a Planet Zebes racetrack, again being a bit more darker lit and to fit, you know, the atmosphere of Metroid. And yeah, I really think it could really work. Yeah, that's what I think with battle courses. Now, in terms of the main tracks, and for cups, in terms of names, I mean, if you're going to name tracks named after Metroid and Kirby, the ones that the names you should probably come up with are maybe a Waddle Dee Cup for Kirby and a Screw Attack Cup for Metroid. In terms of the other names for courses or for cups, the ones that I can maybe think of a Barrel Cup, maybe as an idea, as you know, with Donkey Kong and all that, as or one of them. And the other one I'm thinking, I mean, I guess you could say a WarioWare themed cup, but I'm gonna say maybe a hype cup or something like that. I don't know, with a piranha plant pipeline or something like that. You know, it's hard for me to come up with ideas for names. I'm not an expert on it, but that's just what I think. But yeah, that's basically all my predictions for DLC for Mario Kart. Again, it's what I would hope for. I don't know if that would be what happens. But as I said, I think it's pretty much a certainty we're going to get Mario Kart DLC very soon. But I just don't know when it'll be announced. But yeah, that's what I predict. Geez, I talked a lot with this. Yeah. But yeah, if you have any ideas for predictions, let me know in the comments, and yeah, I'd be interested to see what you actually think. Um, but for now, I got to get back to reviews for the next two videos. Well, which are going to be pretty close, I imagine, to being done. One being the Ironheart TV series, and the other being the new Superman movie. Should both be done within next, I'd say within the next 10, 9, 10 days after this video. So just to wait and see when they come out. But in the meantime, Hasselfasser uses out, and I shall see you for the next video. Ciao!